Hi, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss about auto failover. Automatic failover triggers when a node or group becomes unresponsive because of network issue or when a node is down or experiencing continuous disk access problem. The cluster manager detects and verifies autonomously when a node or group is unresponsive, then trigger the hard failover process. You can configure to failover a node or group automatically, that we will see in few minutes. No immediate administrator intervention is required. But however, once appropriate fixes have been applied to the cluster, a rebalance is required. So when a node got automatically failover, we should not add it back immediately. At least for the production environment, we need to find out the root cause why it failed over. Are there any disk problems, file system problems, or file system fill up, or any other problems? We need to find the cause for the failover. Once we are sure enough that the issue got fixed, then we can add back the same node to the cluster, or we can replace that node with a new node. One important point to mention here, auto failover is always a hard failover. Auto failover settings in Couchbase UI. These are the two important settings for the auto failover. We need to check this checkbox to enable auto failover, and we can mention the number of seconds before triggering the auto failover. So if the cluster manager is continuously failing up to these many seconds, then it will trigger the auto failover. You can exercise and set this value as per your environment requirement. Setting this value to too low also not a good option, because there might be a network glitch, and if you set it to very low value, it will trigger a failover. Setting this to very high value also not recommended. You have to think and set this value as per your environment needs. In the screenshot, we have set it to 120 seconds. If the cluster manager is failing to get a response from a node continuously for 120 seconds, it will trigger the auto failover. And this value up to events, this setting is dealing with the number of failover events that will happen before a manual intervention is required. A single event could be one node failing over or an entire server group. The maximum allowed value is 3. And you can check this checkbox to auto failover for sustained data disk read-write failures after mentioned number of seconds. And this checkbox is for enabling auto failover of server groups. This checkbox is for allowing auto failover to abort rebalance. And this is for enabling auto reprovisioning for ephemeral buckets. So these are the commands to auto failover with CLI. This is the command to auto failover with a 30-second auto failover timeout. This is the command to auto failover with a 120-second auto failover timeout to enable failover on data service disk issue with a 10-second data disk period. This is the command to disable auto failover. Here are the commands to auto failover with the REST API. And this is the command to reset the auto failover counter. The counter is every time a node is failed over, the counter will be increased until the maximum number of failover events you have specified here. So if one node got failed over, counter value will be 1. After some time, if one more node got failed over, then the counter value will be 2. And if you have mentioned 2 events here, it will only fail over 2 servers or 2 server groups. There are few constraints to trigger the auto failover, only on the occurrence of one event at a time. If multiple events are concurrent, auto failover is not triggered. Second one, only up to an administrator specified maximum number of events will occur. After this maximum number of auto failovers has been reached, no further auto failovers will occur until the counter is manually reset by the administrator. If you see the logs, after every rebalance, it will reset this counter to 0. Third one, auto failover will fail if there is a potential data loss. For example, if the bucket does not have enough replicas. Fourth one, a service must be running on a minimum number of nodes for auto failover to be applied to any one of those nodes. Fifth point, for groups, only when a majority of groups can still be contacted following a group's becoming unresponsive. Should I auto failover? Auto failover should be configured on when the cluster contains sufficient resources to handle all possible consequences, because workload intensity on remaining nodes may increase significantly.